Customs officers attacked and injured during drug bust. U.S. ordered 10% flight cuts at major U.S. airports due to shutdowns. And U.S. Supreme Court justices raised doubts about Trump administration's tariff. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. 3 customs officers have been injured in a knife attack during an anti-drug operation in To Kwa Wan. Police have launched a manhunt for the suspect. The officers are now in stable condition. Samantha Lee has more.
Following the knife attack, police arrived at the scene and cordoned off the area outside Honor Building on To Kwa Wan Road. Officers wearing step-resistant vests and holding shields entered the premises to investigate. Police received a report at around 5 p.m. saying that 3 people were assaulted, 2 sustained leg injuries, while 1 had hand wounds. They were all conscious when taken to hospital. Customs said the incident happened during an anti-narcotics raid in a flat of the building. A man in the unit suddenly attacked 2 officers with a knife, and another officer injured his legs when responding to the situation. The suspect fled the scene before the police forcibly entered the apartment. Commissioner of Customs and Excise Chan Chi-tak said officers in the anti-drug operation had weapons, including batons and guns, as it was a dangerous mission. But the suspect launched a sudden attack. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
Police have charged 16 people in connection with a JPEX scandal, one of Hong Kong's largest cryptocurrency scams. The case was brought before the Eastern Magistrates Court today, where social media influencer Joseph Lam Chok was granted $300,000 cash bail. The hearing has been adjourned until December 15th. Joseph Lam Chok, who was detained overnight at North Point Police Station, was escorted to court by police this morning. He and 15 other defendants appeared before the magistrate, though none were required to enter a plea. The court has divided the case into multiple proceedings. Among the defendants are Lam Chok, social media influencer Chen Wing-yi, the then COO and general manager of crypto exchange CoinGuru, as well as Sheena Leung and Cheng Chun-hei. They face charges including money laundering, obstructing the course of justice, and fraudulently inducing others to invest in virtual assets. According to the charge sheet, Lam allegedly deceived investors between July and September 2023 by falsely claiming that JPEX was a licensed cryptocurrency exchange operating across several jurisdictions and that its investment products offered guaranteed percentage returns. Chen Wing-yi was accused of making false statements in 2023, claiming that investing in JPEX's tokens would be profitable and that JPEX was on track to obtain a valid license to operate in Hong Kong. 7 of the 8 defendants in this group were granted bail ranging from $50,000 to $300,000. Lam, accompanied by his girlfriend Yumi, left the court after posting $300,000 in cash bail. The JPEX investigation began in September 2023, when the Securities and Futures Commission flagged the unlicensed platform for aggressively promoting its services in Hong Kong. Investors later reported being charged high withdrawal fees or having funds transferred without consent. So far, police have received more than 2,700 complaints involving a total of $1.6 billion in alleged losses. Former lawmaker Lam Chok, charged over disrupting legislative proceedings in 2019, was found not guilty on 2 counts. The case concerned clashes that occurred between April and May 2019 during meetings of the Bills Committee on the proposed amendments to the Fugitive Offenders Ordinance and of the House Committee. Lam was accused of assaulting, obstructing, or harassing lawmakers Ben Chan and Holden Chow within the meeting area. At West Kowloon Magistrates Court, Acting Principal Magistrate Cheng Lim-chi ruled that Lam had merely been standing nearby at the time and there was insufficient evidence to prove a joint assault. The court accepted testimony from ex-lawmaker Abraham Shek, who said he did not feel any force from Lam's hand and that Lam's arm extending forward could not readily be considered interference. U.S. Transport Secretary Sean Duffy said that he would order a 10% cut in flights at 40 major U.S. airports, citing air traffic control safety concerns as the government shutdown hits a record 37th day. U.S. President Donald Trump blamed the government shutdown in part on GOP losses, as Democrats scored major wins in elections nationwide this week, and asked senators to bring the shutdown to an end. Tracy Furness reports.
The Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, said Wednesday that it would reduce air traffic by 10% across 40 high-volume markets beginning Friday morning to maintain safety during the ongoing government shutdown. The reduction stands to impact thousands of flights nationwide as the FAA directs more than 44,000 flights daily, including commercial passenger, cargo and private flights. Air traffic controllers have been working unpaid since the shutdown began on October 1st, and staff shortages during some shifts have led to flight delays.
But we do recognize that the controllers have been working fastidiously for the last 5 weeks with this huge burden over their head of lack of compensation. And we are starting to see some evidence that that fatigue is building in the system in ways that we feel we need to work towards relieving some of that pressure.
Speaking to Republican senators at a White House breakfast on the first anniversary of his election victory, President Trump had to address the major wins by the Democrats, blaming the government shutdown in part for GOP losses and demanding the Senate to end the filibuster.
Last night, it was not expected to be a victory. It was very Democrat areas, but I don't think it was good for Republicans. I don't think it was good. I'm not sure it was good for anybody. But we had an interesting evening, and we learned a lot. If you read the pollsters, the shutdown was a big factor, negative for the Republicans, and that was a big factor. It's time for Republicans to do what they have to do, and that's terminate the filibuster. It's the only way you can do it. And if you don't terminate the filibuster, you'll be in bad shape. We won't pass any legislation. There'll be no
Tracy Furness, TVB News.
The U.S. Supreme Court justices sharply questioned President Donald Trump's use of an emergency law to impose a series of globe-rattling tariffs and appear skeptical of the legality of the levies. Earlier, the Trump administration lost a lawsuit filed by 5 small businesses and 12 states, with the lower court saying the president had exceeded his authority. Danny Zhou reports.
In one of the biggest cases of the term, the United States top court on Wednesday heard arguments on Trump's billion-dollar reciprocal tariffs on imports from scores of countries. Top officials, including Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, and Trade Representative Jameson Greer, were present at the hearing. Trump himself opted against attending, declaring the case a matter of life or death. Over the course of the hearing that lasted for over 2 hours, it is reported that the majority of justices, conservatives and liberals, were openly doubtful about Trump's claim that he has the power to unilaterally levy tariffs under the 1977 International Economic Powers Act.
The room was packed today. The judges' questions tended to err on the side of skepticism about whether the president has the authority to impose really wide-ranging and sweeping tariffs around the world. One example was given about how the U.S. doesn't necessarily have a trade deficit with Switzerland, but tariffs have been imposed on them regardless of that.
Trump's attorney, Solicitor General John Sauer, noted the imposition of broad-based tariffs was to address 2 emergencies: a persistent trade imbalance and the flow of fentanyl into the country. Conservative Justice Neil Gorsuch refuted the claim, saying Trump had cited purported international emergencies without authorization from Congress. Chief Justice John Roberts said taxes have always been the core power of Congress. And other justices also pointed to Trump's overreach of the executive power to defend his tariff policy by citing the nearly 50-year-old act. Several demonstrators rallied outside the Supreme Court as the pivotal hearing was taking place. Meanwhile, in Shanghai's Import Expo, several American agriculture businessmen expressed their relief after a trade thaw between Beijing and Washington.
We just don't like to see our soy trade get caught up in sort of high-level geopolitics.
And we don't like tariffs. Tariffs are not good for anybody, and certainly there will be no winners in a trade war.
Traders said China booked 2 cargoes of American wheat after last week's Trump-Xi meeting, the first purchases since October 2024. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
U.S. federal safety investigators have located the black box recorders from the wreckage of a UPS cargo plane that crashed in flames on takeoff from the airport at Louisville, Kentucky, killing at least 12 people. Tracy Furness reports.
The 34-year-old MD-11 freighter was bound for Honolulu with 3 crew members aboard when it crashed just after clearing a fence at the end of the runway during takeoff Tuesday evening. The plane was immediately engulfed in a fireball, igniting a string of blazes and scattering debris stretching about half a mile through an industrial corridor, including a petroleum recycling facility that was set ablaze and exploded. Speaking to reporters, a member of the NTSB said they have located the plane's black box.
We have identified the cockpit voice recorder and the flight data recorder. This is what is commonly referred to as the black box. We have investigators now that have located it. As you can imagine, it's suffered some heat, not intrusion, but heat around it. These recorders are built for that.
This is Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear said they are moving from a rescue to recovery mode as they do not expect to find anyone else alive.
And there are a handful of other people that we're still searching for that we hope weren't on site and that we hear were somewhere else. The other piece of news is we are moving from a rescue to a recovery mode. We do not expect to find anyone else alive in the area.
Those that died were 3 people on the plane. The others were on the ground, as about 20 people were also injured. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
And still ahead. Philippine president declares state of national calamity due to Typhoon Kalmeki. Outgoing Lechko urges the public to vote in December. And optimism on tap. Hong Kong Wine Fair exhibitors expecting brisk business. Welcome back. The orbiter of China's Mars mission of Tianwen-1 has successfully captured the images of interstellar object 3I Atlas using its high-resolution camera. 3I Atlas is only the 3rd known interstellar object to visit the solar system, so it has sparked plenty of attention among members of the scientific community. Tianwen-1, China's first Mars mission, carries optical payloads originally designed to image the bright Martian surface. Capturing an object 30 million kilometers away represents the first attempt of its kind for the mission. The successful observation represents an important extended mission for Tianwen-1 as it serves as a valuable technical test for China's Tianwen-2 mission aiming to explore a main belt comet. Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has declared a state of emergency after Typhoon Kalmeki left at least 114 dead and 127 others missing. This as authorities issue storm alerts as the powerful typhoon barreled towards Vietnam and South China's Hainan province. Danny Zhou tells us more.
Typhoon Kalmeki affected almost 2 million people in the Philippines and has displaced over 500,000, according to the country's Office of Civil Defense. Most of the deaths were from drowning and flash floods. Among them were 6 victims killed in a helicopter crash in Agusan del Sur province when they were on their way to provide humanitarian help to places battered by the cyclone. In metropolitan Cebu, about 1.5 months' worth of rainfall was recorded in just a day on Tuesday as the city and outlying towns saw flooding that engulfed residential communities. Meanwhile, Kalmeki is bearing down on central Vietnam, lashing the region with destructive winds and heavy rains. The Aviation Authority issued a storm alert today. Airlines were cancelling or rescheduling flights to and from central and highland cities. In Hainan province, the severe flooding and heavy downpours prompted evacuation of thousands of residents and the activation of elevated emergency response protocols by the local government. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
Chief Executive John Lee explained Hong Kong's advantages at a promotional event in Shanghai organized by the government's task force on supporting mainland enterprises in going global. The event was also attended by Xu Qifang, Deputy Director of Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office, and other guests. In his address, Lee welcomed more mainland enterprises to leverage Hong Kong's international platform for overseas expansion. He says such companies require substantial financial and professional support, as well as an international business platform to align their products and technologies with international standards. He said Hong Kong will continue to strengthen its dual role as a superconnector and super value-added agent, and is the best platform and partner for mainland enterprises going global. The nomination period for this year's Legislative Council election ends today, with 161 nominations submitted. All candidates will be assessed by election officials before they become eligible to run in the polls. Samantha Lee takes a look at the situation for the direct elections.
4.13 million eligible voters in Hong Kong will be able to cast a ballot in their designated geographical constituency on December 7th to decide 20 of 90 seats of the new LegCo. The two candidates with the most votes in the constituency will be elected. 51 nominations were received across the 10 geographical constituencies. Kowloon Central is the most hotly contested battleground, with 6 candidates fighting for 2 seats. Incumbent lawmakers Derry Lee Wai King from the Democratic Alliance for the Betterment and Progress and Kisan Yuan Wen Kit are seeking another term. Other candidates include Jackie Lee Chiu Yu from the Business and Professionals Alliance, Yao Yu Sing from the Federation of Trade Unions, and Leung Nok Hin and Tammy Tam Lai Yi. As for other 9 geographical constituencies, they each have 5 candidates competing for the seats. On Hong Kong Island East, DAB is fielding 2 candidates, while the other candidates come from the FTU, the New People's Party, and the Liberal Party. These 4 political parties also have candidates in Hong Kong Island West. No current councillors are eyeing re-election in New Territories Southeast and New Territories North. New Territories Northwest is contested by DAB's Holden Chow and the FTU's Lok Chung Hong, who hope to retain their seats. Other candidates are Mark Chung from the Round Table, Ken Man Fung from the New People's Party, and Leung Meng Kin. All candidates in New Territories Southwest are women. In New Territories Northeast, the chairperson of the DAB, Gary Chen, and Dominic Lee from the New People's Party will fight to keep their seats. They will be challenged by Koo Wai Ping from the FTU, Calvin Tang from the BPA, and Alan Wong. Each candidate has to be nominated by no less than 100 voters of the constituency, and at least 2 from each of the 5 sectors of the election committee. Outgoing lawmaker Tek Chi Yun, who had hoped to pass the baton to someone in his party, Third Side, said no one there could secure enough nominations from the EC. President of the Legislative Council Andrew Leung said the competition in some constituencies is keener than the previous election.
No one would receive the so-called special spacing, as all contestants start on the same starting line and compete on the basis of their ability, policy platforms, and their dedication to serving the society.
Samantha Lee, TVB News.
All functional constituencies in the Legislative Council election will be contested this year. Olympic gold medalist Vivian Kong, who has entered the race for the tourism functional constituency, has been asked by election officials to clarify her connection to the industry. Vivian Kong, Team Hong Kong's fencing champion, has filed her nomination, garnering 14 corporate electors' endorsements. As she is not a registered voter in the tourism sector, she was required to declare her close connection with the industry. According to her nomination form, she has been serving since August 2024 as External Affairs Manager at the Jockey Club. She also listed her background as a fencer and a standing committee member of the All China Youth Federation. Election officers sent Kong an email on Monday requesting her to explain how her experience or qualification is relevant to the tourism industry and how they would enable her to represent and contribute to the sector. In her written reply, Kong says, as an Olympic gold medalist, she believes sports and tourism are increasingly interconnected. She notes that her role in the Jockey Club has allowed her to participate in projects under the racing tourism ecosystem, which has been included in the government's Tourism Industry Development Blueprint 2.0 as a core strategy. Kong's rival in the constituency, Ma Yet-chiu, a tourism practitioner, secured 17 corporate nominations. Ma declared himself as a member of the Travel Industry Council's Public Relations Committee. He holds tour guide accreditations from the council. Overall, 30 legislative council seats will be decided through the functional constituencies, all seeing contested races this year. The social welfare sector is expected to be among the most competitive, with 3 candidates vying for 1 seat, while the labor sector, which has 3 seats, sees 5 candidates in the running. There are 40 seats in the election committee constituency and 50 nominations already submitted. The annual Hong Kong International Wine and Spirits Fair opened today, debuting a World of Spirits zone. Exhibitors in the new area include a Guizhou heritage-listed liquor brand, which sets sights on tapping Hong Kong as its gateway to global markets. Held at the Exhibition and Convention Center in Wan Chai, the 17th Hong Kong International Wine and Spirits Fair drew more than 620 exhibitors from 23 countries and regions, with the first 2 days being reserved for buyers and trade professionals. For the first time, the fair features a World of Spirits zone. Apart from premium Chinese spirit by Jiu, first-time exhibitors include Guizhou Jieben, a provincial heritage-listed distillery known for its health-oriented liquor made with traditional Chinese medicinal herbs like ginseng and gastrodia. The Guizhou brand's chairwoman says they hope Hong Kong can help promote more Chinese liquor to international markets. A Hong Kong-based gin distillery also showcased its locally crafted blends infused with iconic Hong Kong flavors like pineapple bun and ginger lemon honey. Jeremy Lee, the brand's co-founder, says they are exploring export opportunities at the fair and possible collaboration with local partners, including airlines and private clubs. Returning for the 5th year, a Scottish whiskey and cask trader reported a 40% jump in Hong Kong sales this year, a sign of growing investor and collector interest in fine spirits.
Just from an investment point of view, holding it 3 to 5 years and then making a return on the secondary market. Combination of the interest picking up, people understanding that they can invest into it, and just kind of pushing it out there to the younger generation has really boosted the population, like the popularity of it.
On the final day of the Wine and Spirits Fair, the event will be open to the public age 18 or above, with tickets available for purchase. Public admission tickets cost $200, with online discounted prices at $99. Another reminder before we go, because of the live coverage of the 15th National Games on our channel, news at 7:30 tomorrow will be aired at 10 p.m. instead. And that's the news. Thank you for watching.